Did you hear about the USAID pier constructed on the coast of Palestine that sank into the ocean immediately upon being opened? The US government built like a temporary harbor that was immediately hit by heavy sea conditions and was destroyed. And now they have to rebuild it.
Wait,
bro. American infrastructure is collapsing away from home too.
The one that they fought tooth and nail to build in Gaza, or
yes, that exact one. A temporary pier built by the U.S. military to deliver aid to Gaza has been damaged by heavy seas and will take at least a week to rebuild, according to U.S. officials.
Oh my fucking god! How much money does that cost?
I don't know. Presumably hundreds of millions of dollars, considering it's a U.S. government military project.
Yeah.
So looking at it, it disconnected from the coast and just started floating away. And they had to retrieve it, bring it to Israel to repair it, and then they're going to send it back next week.
Wow. I thought you meant like it just straight collapsed into the ocean. Well, not ocean, but you know what I mean.
No, that's so wild, though. I can only laugh at because they brought it into Israel and then took it back outside on the water as a place for them to bring aid through, instead of just doing the most direct thing.
They shut down the direct route, started just dropping resources from the skies, and were like, oh, but if we get to build this raft, this will be a good way to get aid, because they shut down all the other routes. And then now this isn't working, so, you know.
I like how the U.S. official in charge of the project, when questioned by the BBC, said, "I can't predict the weather, but we believe that given the time of year, we will be able to re-anchor this pier." This is insane. Like, China's building hospitals in the course of 3 days, and the U.S. can't build a temporary military harbor. It took us 2 days to build the harbor to D-Day.
Especially because you expect government stuff to be able to withstand most weather. You expect it to be overbuilt and over-resilient and over-cost because of it. But at least it'll last, you know? It will survive a wave.
No, it comes, the government infrastructure, it comes with this nice feature of being extremely expensive and also not good at all.
Yeah.
So,
I guess once you filter it through the 3 middle managers per builder.
Yeah, this is probably a private-public partnership with Halliburton or something, you know? Yeah, I'm sure someone made hundreds of millions of dollars building this pier.
Yeah, that somewhere where they have the government will pay for all of your costs and give you 40% profit on top.
And then it immediately floated off into the ocean.
Better for it to be way more expensive. I love how they put it in the water and we're like, damn, we didn't expect there to be any waves out here.
I mean, I can only imagine, the U.S. government is usually slightly more competent than this. I almost feel like this is, on purpose. They can't be this incompetent. This is ridiculous. We've had temporary piers figured out since the 1940s.
I would not be shocked if this was deliberately fucked up somewhere. I guess I don't know the specs for this dock, but docks, have been solved forever. They're not that hard to build. At all. You can build a significantly oversized dock easily.
Yeah, I mean, we live in Ontario. People do that all the time.
Even a military logistics dock takes a couple days to build. And it took them 3 weeks to build this and immediately floated away.
Yeah.
And it's going to take them another week to repair.
And if it's a temporary dock too, I guess it depends how temporary we're talking, but just slap together some wood, bro. Put some styrofoam underneath. Actually. I feel
this needs to...
unironically...
needs to hold up several ton vehicles or something. So it's made of steel.
The wood's pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you just need a lot of it for the kind of stuff they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Holy. I guess, we can go into other coverage of Palestine. I think we kind of taken a pause on this because I think it was Noah Samson did a really good video.
But also, like, we don't normally do international news that much, right? I think we talked about
and there's been
we talked about the didn't we talk about the house sales that were going on in Vaughan for land in the West Bank? Do you remember that?
Probably. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I feel like we covered that. That happened like months and months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Noah Samson did a really good video that covered most of the shit I was going to talk about. It has evolved. America was like, don't do anything in Rafah. And then they did everything in Rafah. And then news broke that they were just indiscriminately bombing people, which they have been doing this whole time. But then it seems they've actually struck a nerve this time around, and people are kind of angry at them. I'm shocked it wasn't the triple bombing of humanitarian aid workers. But
yeah, I'm actually really surprised at like the response. Well, so I've seen like a lot of people post about Rafah, and I think it's also like Instagram has made it easier to just like reshare certain things. And honestly, some people might just be like, all right, reshare, that's it. I've done my part. That's in my hands. But
yeah.
like, it's interesting. The amount of people who saw this and genuinely started like engaging and like understanding what's happening, as opposed to the type of people that I see on Instagram who just kind of like post like nothing is happening, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, like there's a lot that has happened in the last, like, I don't know, since this shit started, that like you would think would like strike a nerve with people or would like get them activated, and it seems kind of random sometimes when something like this is the one that is the activating I guess event.
Yeah, I always was like, oh, they've bombed all the hospitals. Surely this is going to be big news, and then it just wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's the fact that this seemed like smaller news. It was let slip a little bit more.
Well,
because even like all the news networks that I listen to, where I think when the flour truck massacre, I guess, happened, they were like, oh, a flour truck incident left a lot of people dead. Yeah. And they just completely vanished everything that happened. But even this one, like, it happened and they were like, oh, now they fucked up. So, like, I don't know, I figured this one, it would be easier for the media to brush it off as like, oh, sometimes shit happens in war. But I guess they are possibly also just losing the narrative.
Well, there's a lot of people fighting for that narrative, like, to be fighting for that narrative to be kept in media. I think, like, at the end of the day, they can't keep up with the amount of people who, like, just genuinely find out about stuff through, like, other means and not, like, through news. Like, someone who sees, like, a friend posting, like, a gruesome image will not see anything close to that image on Global or something like that. And so, like, it's things like that that's, like, I think, like, they can't keep, they haven't been able to keep up with that. Like, historically, it's been easy for them to, like, easily, like, convince, I mean, what was it that was it Global or CBC that had, like, you can't say Palestine or something in one of their...
I would be surprised.
I forget
also
who it
what
was,
you're saying,
I remember that happening.
What you're saying has been, like, acknowledged by the U.S., like, establishment. Did you see what Mitt Romney just straight up said, like, on the record, that they banned TikTok because of Israel-Palestine?
Yeah.
I honestly can't believe, like, yeah, they're just saying shit out loud now. Like, shit that, like, they would spend, like, months in the PR room, like, you know, how do we say this in the most, like, nah, you just, like, said it out, like, because... And that was so wild to hear.
I feel like it's because Romney's retiring, right? That's why he's like, I don't care anymore. Yeah, we banned it because of Israel. What are you going to do about it? Not vote for me? I'm stepping down.
I feel like this is one of the blessings of having significantly, like, aged politicians, is that at some point they're just going to start, like, spitting shit. It's like
Romney isn't even senile, though.
The classic, like, figuring out your grandma's racist at, like, a Thanksgiving dinner party because she just starts talking and doesn't stop. And now they're all doing that.
Well, Romney's not even that old. He's like stepping down because of his age, but it's definitely like he's younger than Trump and Biden, and he's not senile. He's just like straight up like. I feel like he's like, this is a good thing that we're banning it because of Israel. Like, I think he genuinely believes in that project.
He's 77, you know? He's well into the time where people can just start spewing shit. Like,
Man,
depending the person.
The fact that he's retiring because of his age, and they're not even confirmed, and they've booked their spots on CNN for the debate. Like, the two major candidates, like, are like the oldest, like every week it's like, oh, Trump said something dumb, Biden said something dumb. Like it's wild.
Yeah. it just speeds up at this point. It is kind of exciting because the absolute dream is if we have like one of them gets elected and over the next 4 years both of them die of old age. I think that would be
yeah, that would
be the craziest election result.
Oh my god.
Just like a full display that they were not sending their best.
I want something I think would be funnier is if Biden wins and then Trump's voters get all mad and are about to get activated, and then Trump just drops dead of a heart attack or something. And then they're just like, oh, wait, what?
Oh, my God. If Trump dies of a heart attack... If Trump dies of a heart attack, they're definitely going to be like... The Q schizos are going to be like, oh, he was assassinated. The CIA heart attack guy did it.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, they'd have their martyr.
I forgot about that, yeah.
It would only get stronger.
For whatever it's for.
We actually have to protect that, man.
I do think that, like... It is definitely a blessing going into an election where it's like, if the Democrats win and Biden's doing worse than ever, it's absolutely proof that they've stolen the election, according to all the Q guys. But then if Trump wins, it's like, for the Dems, they're going to be like, oh, this is proof that, like, American democracy is over.
Yeah.
So it's starting to happen. We're getting our fascism by 2032 play.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of scolding online already about the, how dare you not like Biden? Trump is so much worse. Like 99% Hitler versus 98% Hitler discourse.
Yeah. Who got that one famous quote? Scratch a liberal and the fascist bleeds. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. So many people were like, when the Michigan I forgot, like they were doing the protest vote to not get Biden in the primary. I forgot exactly how that went down.
Yeah.
But the response from liberals about that, like, oh, then why don't you just go back, like, wait till Trump comes and deports you, like, in glee, like, yeah, I'm going to be happily waiting for you to get deported when Trump comes, like,
yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
It also, like, it proved them right. Where they were just like, oh yeah, these people aren't really caring for us. They're not really trying to deliver anything for us. So they did that vote. I forget what it was a vote for. It was like... I forget the word. And then all the people were just like, oh, you're ruining the election. You need to fall in line. And they're still like, yeah, this is what I'm telling you guys.
Yeah, like, you need to fall in line is a crazy thing to tell the Muslim community. Like, what the hell? Like...
Yeah, that too. That too. Like, that is not gonna happen. And we're kind of... I think Canada's had its first times where it started to acknowledge a little bit of what's going on. I didn't actually write anything down, but I am hearing more and more about it. Like, Canada's staying out of shit as opposed to, like, condemning everyone for being anti-Semitic or whatever.
Well, I feel like Canada has always been sort of like the soft left hand of the American empire. You know, like, we never really go hard into things. Like, we weren't in Vietnam, we weren't in Iraq or anything like that. But like, we're still like sort of a soft participant, just sort of like the positive version of Western imperialism. Like, everyone likes us, or is supposed to like us, despite the fact that we own like 3/4 of the world's mining companies, which are doing like just the craziest shit in the third world.
The teachers fund.
Yeah.
Literally being like the marionette guy in the shadows. Well, anyways, I guess let's get into it. Well, actually, no, we don't even need to have a proper transition because my first story was going to be about University of Alberta and their dismantling of the camps. So, like most camps, they're just kind of calling for the university to divest because universities be investing because we do that now. And there were so many bangers between the police statement and the university statement that I'll just start listing some out.
Let's hear it.
With, I guess this is from City News, yeah. Police claimed it was not peaceful because, open quote, they were standing, not sleeping.
Oh my god.
Which is a good one. There's videos of just police beating people with batons and tear gassing them. Police say the protesters were taught how to use pallets as barricades and fire extinguishers as weapons. Interestingly enough, in the videos, none of them were doing that. So if they were trained to do that, they sure didn't do a good job.
I like the language of, like, they were taught. But, like the implication that there's some sort of, like, shadowy figure teaching them or making them do this.
Yeah, well, they were like, the organizers are secretly doing all of this, right?
They're building some kind of mercenary city in the middle of somewhere, training these Antifa thugs on how to use fire extinguishers.
Like, why would you pick a fire extinguisher as a weapon? It's not. It's not a good weapon. Like, it's a terrible weapon, especially like a large blunt object versus a police who I assume has at least minimal body armor is going to be completely worthless.
I can name like 10 things, 10 household objects that would be a better weapon than a fire. My water bottle here would be a better weapon that you can sneak into things better. Like someone walking in with a big red fire extinguisher. Like, yeah, this is how I'm gonna like intimidate the police. Oh my god,
it makes no sense. Here's another quote. Many protests are peaceful, but this one wasn't. It could have become violent.
Yo, that they should have said. They should have said it wasn't violent yet. We oh my god.
Yeah, well, that's literally what they said. They're like, many protests are peaceful. This one was still peaceful, and then just kind of left it. Like, they forgot to talk about like how this was violent. I mean, if you're gonna like make shit up, you know, just say about how, oh, a couple people were harassing people around the place and, like, we received reports. Or, like, make something mediocre up.
Yeah.
And then we police behavior, not beliefs, which just raised my question of what happens if people, like, act on their beliefs. You're kind of policing beliefs now.
That's actually, yeah, that's very funny to hear from this kind of crowd. I can't wait to. My girlfriend is from Kelowna, and so she's frequently in contact with those types from Alberta and stuff like that. And I can't wait to have new conversations with them on free speech and what do they call it? The thought crimes,
freedom of expression
like
shit. Or?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love. I'm always in the YouTube comment sections. I'm in the trenches. And I do love how people, like, there's actually a fine split, which is kind of shocking to me, because usually YouTube comments are the worst place to be. But there's a good split between people saying, like, oh, people should be allowed to kind of show their views, they're fighting for something, and university campuses are kind of for that. And then there's people just, like, I mean, the natural guys who are going, oh, if you get in someone's way, you deserve to be, like, shot. Don't bother anyone ever. Slight exaggeration, but not really, because it's the YouTube comment section. But there were a ton of people that were just like, oh, yeah, you should be allowed to do whatever you want, but if you do something dumb, it should be shut down. And it's like... the freedom of speechers are not sending their best here.
No. I thought this was America. Sorry, this is Canada. My bad.
Famous trucker Nana.
Yeah. No, I genuinely thought this was Canada. I thought we were we stood for something in this country, you know, but apparently not. We're just
Well,
Yeah.
as spineless as everyone else.
as frustrating, sorry, as it is for them to say this, this is really like sort of peak liberal idealism, where it's like you should not be allowed to act in the real world. You should compete in this like marketplace of ideology,
Yeah.
and you should be allowed to like try to convince people with facts or whatever, instead of, you know, agitating for a better world. Like they sincerely believe
Right.
that like they aren't impinging on free speech or freedom of assembly by breaking up these protests, because these protests are like they're illegitimate because they're not just peaceful and about ideas. Instead, they're about concrete action,
Right.
and they're taking concrete action
They
against
want people like
injustice.
handing out flyers and talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or like picketing
The
in the
perfect,
picket
like,
zone, you know, like that
protest
sort
for
of
them.
thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a designated zone where some people can
Yeah.
avoid and like walk around if they don't want to be disturbed doing their day-to-day activities.
Right. They don't
I love that
just
shit
believe in
so
freedom of
much.
speech. They believe that like there should be a freedom from other people's speech. Like they shouldn't have to like witness it. Like they shouldn't have to engage with it in any way.
Yeah, if it totally is true, it will make it to the top without bothering me. I
Yeah,
don't have
exactly.
to think about it. I can be apolitical and not
Yeah,
have to
it's
worry
just
about
this-
anything.
It's this liberal idealist conception that the best ideas will win, and not like who takes material action.
Well, going back to the materials, here's a couple things. I'm going to what the university posted now. They said 17 pallets were found within 150 meters of the encampment, and it's a fire risk.
Oh my
That's
god.
a 300-meter diameter in a place where things are happening. Buddy, they could only find 17? Like, that's it?
Yeah, and also like, I it's so that fire risk thing I actually hate so much, because you can literally make anything a fire risk if you wanted. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a rule that they can spin any like overcrowded situation, any awkward protest situation, and
Yeah.
like shut it down based on that. And I actually hate it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah. Just
Like,
17.
a university is, I guess, kind of a business. I mean, at this point, universities are kind of businesses. They've been made into it. But if you're in any remote business area and you can only find 17 pallets in a 300 meter diameter, like, I'm shocked. There's nothing being built there. There's nothing
Yeah, like,
being
did it not
moved.
rain? Did it not, like, yeah, like, I was just looking at a few weeks back, looking at McGill's, like, request list for their encampment when it was still going on.
Yeah.
And they were asking for more, like, ballots and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
God, I hate
Yeah, a lot of them were told if it's raining, like, to use pallets so that you don't, like, just soak on the ground overnight.
Yeah.
So they were told to get pallets, and then we're told the pallets are a fire risk, or, like, a barricade risk, and that it has to be broken up because of
it. It is supposed to be a barricade. Oh, my God.
Yeah, if this was a real old school protest, yeah, they'd have pallets as barricades. We don't really do that much anymore. I wish. Other things that were found were potential weapons like hammers, axes, and screwdrivers. Now, axes, a little bold, I'll say. I'll respect being like, maybe we don't want a fuck ton of axes around here.
Sure.
On one way, but hammers and screwdrivers, ladies and gentlemen, for a place where people are camping, to have hammers, it sounds like they're just setting up tents and things.
Yeah, like, oh my God. Yeah, these people have actually never. Wait, these are Alberta people. What is?
Oh yeah, fuck. Oh wait, you're yelling in your audio cut. In fact, I think you sound
Okay.
better now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, Alberta people with tools on them? That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, oh my god. Imagine my horror seeing...
They kind of ended by saying, we have to end this encampment and open dialogue. And I'm like, dog, the encampment was the dialogue. That was forcing the dialogue to actually happen.
Yeah, speaking of the open dialogue line, and to connect it to what's going on at University of Toronto, like I think I have a feeling that like all of these I've only seen UofT's like letter directly, and I was looking for like what McGill's administration's letter said when they sent it to the encampment's representatives, but this like idea of like the encampments must end, and we also want to engage. We also want to like communicate with people. I think like these universities have been communicating on the best message to send. A similar thing was in UofT's message, where they're both like threatening to end the encampments while saying, by the way, we're also open for dialogue. Like we're operating in good faith, but we sent like 10 lawyers to seek an injunction to get you guys the fuck out of here, like as soon as we can. And shout out to Toronto, they said nah. We're not. And so UofT sent out an official like, okay, like this is we are meeting your demands, and this is like our like offer essentially. And what a garbage offer! It's like pretty much saying we will set up a committee in October to maybe see what we can do to get rid of stuff, and then straight up saying we will not cut any like academic ties with any Israeli school or something like that, because oh my god, something about free speech.
We're
Let me see if
gonna
I can
do
find
nothing,
it.
but it's we're gonna change everything while not changing a single thing. You get that a lot with like liberal idealism shit.
Oh yeah. There we go. An update from the president. Oh, this is not it.
Ruh-roh.
Emily, do you have the email from the president? Anyway,
We're getting a direct source here.
But it was essentially saying they won't, like essentially saying no to some of the demands, and then expecting the students to respond and expecting the students to be like, oh, you know what, thanks a lot, that's all we wanted, and then like pack up and like happily go. Like what? The students said no, fuck that. They stood their ground. UofT is now seeking an injunction with lawyers. If I have this right, one of the lawyers was a lawyer for Harvey Weinstein. So good company that you're in.
But also, like, this is
their best.
sort of like a mirror of Israel's propaganda tactics when dealing with Palestine, where they're like, "Oh, we gave them this garbage offer and they refused it, so they're responsible for what we do to them next."
Yeah. That's actually an acute observation. I didn't think of that. And that police response is like, that
Foucault's
violence,
boomerang.
like,
but very softly applied, I think.
Yeah.
I still don't get what you mean when you say that.
So Foucault's boomerang is the idea that means of domestic oppression are first tested on the colonial frontier. Like, basically, you send out the colonial gendarmes and the army, and then they go stomp around in Africa, kill a bunch of people, right? And then they learn how to deal with domestic dispute, like domestic, I guess not domestic disputes, because that implies it's in a household, but domestic affairs.
Just they learn how to deal with
and then they come back
riots and shit.
Yeah, and then
Small
they can come back, and then whenever the population in the Imperial Core gets mad, they can just apply those same techniques, which they have now mastered.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, I love safe protests are good. You're not allowed to break university policy, violate any laws, violate any safety regulations, or pose any risk to the campus, which I assume also means the property. And if putting a tent makes it so that it's muddy, I'm assuming that counts as a risk to their delicately kept lawns. So, like, between that, no protest is good. You're gonna be fucking jaywalking at some point, and they're gonna be like, oh, these people are wreaking havoc on the streets, you know?
Repositioning this box.
You find
Yeah.
a letter?
It's alright.
I did. Okay. So, divestments. This is when they said they will get a group. No, they will invite students to a governing council to present their demands on June 19th. And then student representatives may suggest qualified individuals for this advisory committee that will review the government's investments. The student representatives will have the opportunity to make submissions, which will also consult with experts and other members of the university community. And I think the most insulting part is like down here where they say like this whole thing is like asking is essentially to get eyes on like Palestine and Palestinians. And while like Palestinians in the diaspora like also like matter, like the main focus is like Palestinians in Palestine. But over here they say like the university's approach, after they say they will not terminate any partnership with Israeli universities, the university's approach is to build bridges. So we will continually continue active discussions to increase opportunities for Palestinian scholars and faculty, and to make Palestinian studies in the university better. Like that's the most we can offer is like give you a better life here in Toronto.
Give you 6 layers of bureaucracy to present the opportunity to go through 6 layers of bureaucracy. And then if any of those layers fuck up, the whole thing will collapse, guaranteed.
And then shocked that the students are staying.
I have a huge gripe with like provide more opportunities for people, because I'm like, I don't know. One thing that I think I was talking with Shrey before, I've latched on to kind of Gary Stevenson as a guy that I like, and he puts things very well where he just says the issue is inequality, and it's kind of like many things tie into this, where it's like feminism as I would approach feminism, or I do approach feminism, versus kind of like liberal feminism, where liberal feminism, instead of actually breaking the inequalities, it just presents some women more access to the tools of the systems that they like strive to fight. And with presenting opportunity, like it's just that with wealth, where instead of actually
Spencer,
making it so that life is better for more people, it just gives some people, some Palestinians, more tools to get towards being wealthy.
On your feminism point, I recommend that you check out Alexandra Kollontai, the first Soviet minister for welfare. She wrote quite a lot about what you were talking about back in the 1910s.
Yeah.
Like the idea of Marxist feminism versus
that's a minute
bourgeois
ago.
feminism. Yeah.
I was reading some
out.
bell hooks, and I was kind of on a little bit of a feminist tear for a minute, but then I was like post breakup, and she started talking about love, and I put it down. I was like, I can't do this shit anymore, man.
Oh my god! Yeah, you deserve love.
Well, I'll make it back there eventually, but I needed a minute first, you know? There's also some words from Danielle Smith where she said that she wants the police to break up the encampments. So there's your big free speecher. But also there might be some potential legal recourse because they can't use a threat as a means to clear everything out if there was no actual threat. Like, even they said, this might have become violent, but they gave no indication that it was probably going to become violent, so they might not be able to use that as a way to do it. But we'll have to see, because going through that, you kind of do have the establishment on one side and a ragtag band of advocates on the other.
Which one?
So, there's my University of Alberta quick summary.
And shout out to if you told me, I think McGill has ended their encampment. I don't know what the university capitulated to, but if you told me that UofT like would be one of the last remaining ones in Canada, like I would have slapped you silly because I would not have believed it. But shout out to the people at UofT and I figured it probably would have been like Alberta and UofT would have been the first ones to crack down on shit. But I don't know, maybe UofT has a soft spot for optics or something.
Frankly, the Toronto police are so inept that they just couldn't do it until recently.
They actually are. Like I remember I went to a protest when Trudeau was at the HEO recently, and there was a Palestine protest there, and I went there, and this police officer is asking me, "Wait, what's happening? What's going on in there?" I'm like, "What? Did you not get a heads up that the Prime Minister is coming?" like, how did I know and you not know? Like, oh man.
Also, okay, one little thing of police, is that there were, more police than there were people in the encampment. There was, a full line of police, shoulder to shoulder, in some places, a couple layers deep, going through the encampment, and there were, 12 people left at that point. And they were, just throwing down the baton. It was an overshoot, I'll say, in the use of power.
They were bloodthirsty. I feel like a lot of these police officers are like, I became a police officer because I feel like police officers have some authority to beat up some people, and so far I haven't beat up anyone yet. And well, here we go. Lining
exactly.
up.
I have a feeling that might also help for legal recourse, being that clearly the scale of the force used was just completely wrong. But we'll just have to see. Oh God! What was that California police story I sent, Bennett?
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to actually cover this, but this was the funniest headline I heard, I think, this week.
This was the guy who the police tried to convince him that they tried to force a confession out of him where he killed his father, but his father was still alive, and they threatened to kill his dog and beat him up and stuff.
Oh my God!
They said they'd kill his dog if he doesn't confess to killing his dad. After 17 hours in a torture room, that he confessed to killing his dad, and his dad was just alive the whole time. And this was California.
His dad was just
he won $900,000 in a lawsuit, but that's just taxpayer dollar in it.
Not enough, in my opinion. Imagine, so holy shit! Imagine if no one found his dad.
He'd be fucked.
I bet at the end he actually was like, wait, did I do something?
Did I somehow accidentally do something that led towards this happening, and it is my fault? 17 hours in the torture chamber of going through that, your brain's playing tricks.
Or just to go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Just to you're I would admit guilt for 17 hours. Threatening to kill that's actually so fucked. This is that aren't police known for killing dogs too?
Especially in the US.
Oh my fucking God.
What's that Killer Mike bar where he sorry, give me 2 seconds. This is I won't give up shit. I'll put a pistol on your poodle and I'll shoot that bitch. That's one of my favorite Killer Mike bars ever.
Wait, say it again.
Isn't that from the song Run the Jewels?
That was 4 O's. It is, which is also one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, it's a good song.
And that goes for a guy, lady, the fam, goddamn, we fucking crazy. I'll pull this pistol on your baby. Or,
I remember that.
I'll put a pistol on your poodle and I'll shoot that bitch. I love that shit. Yeah, the cops shooting dogs is they can't stop, and I don't know why. They just love it. They just love it. I think they assume every dog is like a pit bull, and they're just guarding an elementary school at all times.
Even are pit bulls even like that dangerous?
I don't know, but it's funny to imagine them that way.
They're not that safe. Let's just say they do account for like a crazy amount of violence that dogs commit. I think German Shepherds are in a distant second, and then pit bulls are like 2/3 of dog bites or something crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other way around. I thought German Shepherds were the ones to run away from.
No, they used to be German Shepherds back in the 90s.
But I guess they are still.
Yeah, they're dangerous, right? Especially because that's why like the police and the army use them.
Right.
But pit bulls have long passed German Shepherds. I think like the last time German Shepherds were on top was the 90s. Yeah.
True. I gotta catch up on my dog lore. I didn't.
No, pit bulls. I also think that like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Where it's like, these are the more violent kind of dogs by a slim margin, and then immediately every, like, degenerate that wants to, like, have a fighting dog or will, like, kick the shit out of their dog is buying a pit bull to look cool. And then it just makes pit bulls even more violent on average.
It's not
I want to know what pit bulls would be like if everyone was just, like, chill with dogs. Then again, I'm a known dog hater, so... You know, maybe I have to start with myself to fix this problem.
I don't know. I mean, we could probably breed the violence out of pit bulls in a few generations, but the sad thing is because people who want violent dogs want pit bulls, there's just no pressure for that.
Yeah.
But
also, like, I don't know. I think they're a neat-looking dog. I think they look all right. I think most dogs look terrible.
You think pit bulls look good?
And pit bulls do... I think they look all right.
In my opinion, they're one of the ugliest breeds that isn't intentionally ugly. Like, they're not as ugly as pugs, but they're uglier than, like, a normal... they're uglier than, like, a normal
I'll give you that,
dog.
because I was immediately going to hit... Yeah. What's that?
Oh my god.
Borzois? Yeah, Borzois are crazy, though. Borzois are actually... They were massacred during the Russian Revolution. Did you know that? Because...
Oh, right, I forgot about that one. Because they were like a bourgeois dog, right?
Wait, why is that?
Yeah, they were associated with Russian aristocrats, so they would just kill a bunch of them when the communists won in Russia.
Yeah.
Yo, that's kind of... Wow, that's help for the communists.
Historically speaking, I feel like communists do have a bad track record of just randomly killing specific animals.
Like sparrows and stuff,
Yeah, we got sparrows, you have borzoi. I don't know what else there is, but the vibes are already starting to hit.
This dog looks like Elizabeth Debicki. This borzoi. Sorry to Elizabeth. I think you're kind of attractive, but you see this. I saw this dog and I was like, "What's that actress's name?" And I was like, hey, "Yeah."
I don't know. I feel like she cultivates that sort of angular, long physique, so she might take it as a compliment, you know.
Yeah, I think Borzoi. It's a dog that at first I thought was the dumbest looking fucking dog alive, but they have a little charm to them. I think they're all right. I think they are funny looking, but in a way that is a little endearing. And I don't think they eat children's faces.
I can see.
Maybe if I get a dog,
fit
that's
a children's
the one.
head in their mouth. You know, it's too narrow.
Yeah.
Man, okay. If I saw this dog running, I'd be terrified. Not gonna lie. Like, if the dog standing looks fine, but every picture of it like in motion running looks like the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Or is it pictures of it from the side? Because the Borzos are basically like 2D. It's like a piece of paper coming at you.
Yeah. Okay.
It is one of those very slim dogs.
Yeah. I'm dead. Okay. I barely see them then.
Well, let's zip our way over to the next story. Bennett, do you just have the...
I can do Rishi Sunak election
paper?
And the...
Well, I'll finish off with the more local stuff, with Toronto's drug decriminalization being rejected. which I think is an interesting story because drug decriminalization, I'll just give a quick summary of the overall thing. It's been useful for a lot of countries that have had big drug problems to decriminalize them because it kind of gives some actual control to the movement of things within a country, as opposed to just like when you criminalize it, it's all black market. There's only one way to stop it, which is police.
Right.
So it changes things from a criminal issue to a health issue, and makes it so that users are less scared to seek help because they don't think they're going to get arrested. They might instead just be kind of pushed into rehab or addiction services, which is what a lot of them like want. Most like fiends know that they don't love being there. They're just kind of stuck, so they keep going. There's also that adds cost to healthcare for rehab and addiction services, but also removes stuff from healthcare for overdoses, infections, and other things like that. There's a lot of like, especially with the new wave of opioids, there's a lot of people whose limbs are just rotting off of their bodies, which is not great. So anything above personal use remains criminal, and it kind of stops, I'll say, daily users from having their lives wrecked, but like dealers can still get their lives wrecked. And it kind of increases trust in the state, where even if you don't like the state, you know that the fact that you hate the state is like not a good thing. You should, the state should be on your side. And it actually, legalization decreases youth drug use, probably because it's no longer rebellious and cool. It's just something that people can do, but that's just speculation. And yeah, so there's why Toronto may want to try to decriminalize drugs. And it didn't go their way. So, is it Yara Sachs said that she feels like it doesn't maintain health and safety, and she's a mental health and addictions minister. And they kind of said that, like, Doug Ford said that under no circumstances are they going to support this, and then the federal government said, okay, well, if you guys can't work together, then we're not going to back it because it probably won't go well. But Olivia Chow's going to keep on pushing. I'm a chowderhead.
I think the Doug Ford non-cooperation thing is sort of like an excuse. I think the feds right now might be spooked by the fact that BC's decriminalization scheme failed. Like, did you hear about this?
Yeah.
BC asked to recriminalize possession.
Well, I think they changed it around. So
did they fail? I heard they asked.
They were going to change it so that drugs are illegal again in public spaces. I think they made it so it was just kind of blanket decriminalized, but now they're going to, it's like decriminalized in private spaces and like health, like drug centers, whatever they call them. But it's not, you're not going to be allowed to just be like popping shit anywhere you go.
Yeah, but I think there's sort of like an optics issue right now where the Liberals have a long-term goal of closing the polling gap, and what the last thing they want is a big headline that's like BC decriminalization fails, and then they're like they back decriminalization in Ontario, which is where they like a battleground where they want to be winning, right? I think that there's definitely a political angle here where it doesn't really matter if decriminalization actually works so much as the fact that it looks bad for them to do it right now.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the BC stuff is like a visibility kind of issue, kind of like homelessness, where they decriminalized it so then a lot of, people on drugs were moving around in public more, so more people saw it, so that, and then they thought that like, oh, everything is getting way worse. They're actually starting to see the drug issue now, which means that like, if you only see it now, it's actually getting worse, right? So I think that was a big issue with them.
Yeah, I think that's definitely right. One of the things that has affected that public perception, there was a YouTube video called like the city where all drugs are illegal or something like that. Let's see if it's still there. Oh my God! Yeah, it's still there, and it's 13 million views, and it's about Vancouver, and it's literally just like he just found I forget the street, but he just went to like a hotspot and is walking around and like started filming people using drugs, and then from that excluded that like, yep, all the drugs are illegal. It's the most like at best I think it's like a really ignorant like video, but I think there's actually like it's kind of malicious this guy's video a little bit, because he's done it in oh no, never mind, the city where every drug is legal is Portland, Oregon. He titled another video, I investigated the country where every drug is legal, where he only visited Vancouver.
Bro, he has multiple
and that one has 15 million
videos
views.
about this kind of thing, and they have the same thumbnail but different titles and like different descriptions and shit.
Wait. He said the country. He did say the country where all drugs are legal, and he didn't even go to the actual country where that is the case, which is like Portugal.
No, because he would be extremely terrified to even like set foot anywhere near any state that has like no control on like on the drugs. Like he knows he's like relatively safe in Vancouver, Canada.
He'd be completely
where
safe.
They filmed like I didn't really
the thing
know,
is,
like...
he'd be totally safe in Portugal, but that doesn't sort of mesh with his narrative, right? Right, like Portugal's a perfectly safe country.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
Like
that's
a first
true.
world country in Europe.
What's the guy? Is it Channel 4 News? Channel 5?
Channel 4 News is a no.
Oh,
Channel
yeah,
4 News is
I
a
think so.
British news channel.
Oh, Channel 4
No,
News is an actual
YouTuber
news.
guy. What number is it? Channel 5. Okay.
Channel 5.
I wasn't sure if there were 3 or 4 real newses, you know? But he, I think, did a cool video on drug use and all of that, where he had a video that was talking to, like, all the different people doing his thing that he always does. And then he had a whole section at the end, which was, like, talking about his own kind of not being a druggie and doing kind of druggie tourism for YouTube to get the news, and how scummy it is and how he's essentially doing that. And I thought that was like at least kind of cool and self-aware at least, but also kind of decent, because he went into a lot of the stuff. He went into gentrification and all of that.
Was it recent?
I don't know how recent, but in my memory it's recent. It's probably like half a year ago, maybe a year ago. But I hate seeing all these guys. They're like, dude, zombie city, dude, people here are fucked up. And they just like, they go there and just harass people for love of the game, I guess. I mean, they're YouTubers, they do love harassing people.
It's poverty. It's the opposite of like in a similar like, no, actually maybe definitely in a more egregious way, but like also like bad, like the opposite of the people who record themselves like giving food and money to like poor people and then like fuck off and then go edit that into a nice video and then like post that and get some views, is the people who record it in like the way you describe, like, oh, aren't these like non-humans like amongst us? I think he actually like the way he describes them is using a weird tone like that. It's actually kind of fucked. Like, this guy might be low-key a fascist, like trying to like do some shit. Like,
there's this weird angle of like trying to show people have this fascination of the worlds that they're not in. You know, like they want to see, like, not a specific other side, but they want to see the other side of something. They want to see what it's like to do fucking van life. And everyone's like, oh, it's not glamorous, but because I'm 21 and rich, I'm hot still. And like, this van life is literally just homelessness of old coming back as a pretty aesthetic of new. Same with like all the people that do sailing content, family life content, and all of that. Everyone kind of has their niche that they want to look into. And then if you get the slightly edgier types, their niche is like watching messed up people for entertainment.
There's I don't know, like maybe it's because like the way people think of things has shifted, but now like people are doing this kind of like cosplaying like they don't have money because it's better or something. Like I saw the video of someone living in like a container type house, like
Have
like,
you seen
I don't know.
those? I get them on fucking Instagram Reels, and it's like this company that makes container houses. And they have just constant drama happening. It'll be like a video of these people living in their container house community, and it'll be like a guy begging for forgiveness because he cheated on his girlfriend with like his girlfriend's mom. And then like it'll be there's just a ton of stuff like that, and there's just all this drama, and at the end they're like, but wasn't that house beautiful? It has everything you need for 1 year's salary.
Oh wait! Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Is it Chinese? Yeah. Is it a Chinese ad? Yeah, I think I've seen it.
I gotta say, every time it pops up, it slaps, man.
Oh my god! I didn't see it on Instagram. I saw someone on Twitter post it, but yeah, that's hilarious. But isn't that house incredible?
Oh, it has all the storage space you need and 1.5 bedrooms.
Oh my god!
And the way they spice up the drama of it all. This is where advertising is going. And honestly, I'm happy. Advertising is like, instead of sponsoring a show to shove your like ads into, it's probably going to start being cheaper to just produce your own low budget show for your brand, and it will probably be funnier.
Yeah.
And I want to get out of our current ad phase.
Incredible things.
Ads have not been doing good recently.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know. I think maybe we have like a nostalgic appreciation for older ads, and maybe it would have been annoying like when it was back then, if we were seeing it back then. But ads are like very annoying, and like I frequently I'm like, what the hell are you advertising? And then at the end I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and one thing that's really annoying, a slight tangent, is how like insidious it's getting. Now it's not just on cable or like on YouTube or something. I go to the movie theater. I've paid $20 or something to watch an IMAX movie or something. I'm seated. I came a little bit early, to catch some trailers, and Ozempic is playing on the big screen in front of me. What a way to piss me off before a movie.
Anyways, why don't we move on to, speaking of things that are going well, the country of Canada, according to Quebecers, is doing really well. Should we talk about the latest puzzling polling data from coming out of the province of Quebec? So, as you may be aware, Spencer's probably more aware of this than Nana, because I feel like, Nana, you probably don't keep up to date on Quebec news. But
I feel
Quebec...
like the only up-to-dateness I have about Quebec is whenever you and Shrey talk about Quebec, and I just read the messages. Yeah,
Quebec has...
or do you want to cover this now, or do you want to cover this with Shrey?
I want to cover this now. Okay, because this is recent information. It's also mostly a fluff piece, so it's not like we need hard-hitting analysis. But it's just... it's puzzling. In the immediate future, Quebec is going to have a provincial election, and the Separatist Party is way, way ahead in the polls, like 2/3 or something crazy. And they part of their platform is when they are elected, they're going to call a referendum, a third independence referendum. So you'd think that public sentiment in Quebec is pro-separation, right? Well, in a recent poll, representative sample of every province in Canada, Quebecers have the highest national pride in Canada as a federal project, tied with Ontario and the Atlantic provinces. They also have the highest... They had the highest, 70% of Quebecers say they are proud to live in Canada. 53% of Quebecers say Canada's values align with their own, which is the highest of any province, the lowest being Saskatchewan at 29%. And 46% of Quebecers say Canada is a country that's on the right track, which puts them more than 5 points ahead of the next highest, BC at 40. So Quebecers actually love Canada.
Oh my god.
It's all vibes.
when you said they were time in Ontario, like my mouth literally dropped. With the Protestants, they're agreeing with.
This is the kind of polling data I'd expect to see on like July 2nd, 1867, before they knew what they signed up for. You know what I mean? This is crazy. The fact that they're like the happiest.
I think it shows that Quebec breaking off of Canada. It's like it's all vibes. They love being the rebellious province, so they kind of have to like vibe check Canada, even though they're having a blast.
Yeah, and in like the actual like. Just the referendum polling right now is also like Quebec will stay if the referendum was held today, but that might change in the future. Another thing about this poll, interesting thing about this poll though is Canadians are way happier with their country than Americans are. 67% of Canadians say they are proud to live in Canada. Only 54% of Americans are proud to live in the United States. 60% of Canadians say we live in a caring society, compared to only 30% of Americans. The majority
honestly, Americans, though, don't even try to live in a caring society, you know?
Yeah, I feel like some of them would answer no, thinking that's the big answer, you know?
They are brain broken in that way. Here's a weird one. 54%, the majority of Canadians believe Canada is prosperous right now, while only 49% of Americans believe America is prosperous. That's a minority of Americans believe America is prospering.
The vibes in America are trash.
Yeah. 49% of Canadians overall say Canada's values align with their own. Only 23% of Americans say America's values align with their own.
Oh my
44% of Canadians say Canada has a positive global impact. Do you want to guess how many Americans think America has a positive global impact?
17.
It's 34%.
Exactly double my number.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
That's still a tiny minority. 43% think Canada's constitutional monarchy is a good system of government. Only 26% of Americans think that America's congressional republic is a good system of government. Yeah, that's a crazy low amount.
Well, yeah, we said this at the beginning, where it's like right now you have half the population think, well, you have one political party saying that the other just tried to form a coup and didn't get punished for it, and the other political party is saying the first one stole an election and didn't get punished for it. So it makes sense that no one is feeling really good about it, you know?
But I think, like, if anything, the Democrats would have like steadfast belief in the system.
Well, they're up against Trump again, so they're like they might at their core, but they're not feeling good right now.
Oh no,
I
see what you mean. Yeah.
And the final difference here is 36%, which is a small minority of Canadians think the country's on the right track. Only 16%, 1/6 of Americans believe that their country is on the right track.
Holy shit!
So
no, because I always say, like, any poll you do, 80% is 100%. 20% will always say the wrong thing, whether it be by accident, whether it be just because they're like contrarians, or like a certain group of people that are just like, we're fucking rocking right now, and they just don't pay attention. Like, there's always 20% are sitting around there. So the fact that they managed to get under 20% is extremely impressive.
Well, it's also like, as bad as the vibes feel in Canada, right? Like, it seems like everyone's mad here all the time about the economy and immigration and foreign affairs and stuff. The vibe is so much more rancid in the United States somehow, despite them being way better off by, like, every metric.
Yeah.
Like, Canada's economy is, like, stagnated for, like, half a decade, and, like, shit's falling apart.
This poll is killing me.
But, like, the United States is, like, doing way better, but everyone is way unhappier.
I mean, I guess they are the global hegemon, and they most people aren't seeing that their life is that cool.
Yeah.
So I guess I could see that being a difference, where we're kind of aware that we're a satellite of the States, so it would make sense that things are a little worse off than the States. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it does not bode well for the future of America's congressional republic if only a quarter of Americans think it's a good system of government. That's for sure.
Yeah, and 0%, if -4% of people think they're on the right track.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that system of governance that is actually like, if any politician was smart, they would use that to like, try and like implement some kind of reform. But unfortunately, they're all at best Democrats.
Neolibs against neolibs.
Like, you feel like at the least you could leverage this into like electoral college abolishing or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'll hit you guys with another mini story. To all of our listeners, don't smuggle baby eels onto planes. Apparently, a bunch of people have gotten busted smuggling baby eels onto planes in their luggage, because apparently baby eels are worth a lot of money. It'll be a lot of money. Don't do it. The airports just said, guys, we know what baby eels look like when they come through our scanners. Like, you're not smart. You have to get around this a better way. So unfortunately, for all the grifters and all of that, baby eels is out for right now.
What? Like, people are wrapping baby eel. Oh, like, I guess it's like really tiny. So like, what do they have them in? Like,
shit. But they're like, one of the suitcases was overweight as well. I think by like a lot. So that was another benefit. Smuggling too many baby eels is a bad idea as well.
Honestly, you could smuggle a small amount of basically anything that isn't drugs, right? Because they only train those dogs on detecting drugs. You could like get alcohol across the border easily without tariffs. You could get you could get one eel across the border probably.
Yeah, honestly, you could probably get like 52 ounces of baby eels if you put them in like liquor bottles or something.
Yeah.
You might be able to do that, but yeah, I also don't.
$500,000. Okay, where can I find these eels?
But apparently this is like a common thing that airlines every year have to put out a thing saying stop smuggling baby eels again.
Do you know what they're used for? Is it like...
Honestly, no. I figured it was like some obscure dish or something like that, but...
I thought it was like for... I didn't assume they were eating them, to be honest, but that's actually that funnier.
Seizure. What's this for? 100 kilograms of baby eels at Toronto Pearson International Airport.
Damn, that's like 210 pounds.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is the first bust in 2024 at an export point. We're basically at the end of the season, so it'll be a lone bust. Oh, so it's not as common as we thought. But man's missing out in a $500,000 bag. So...
Yeah.
Rest in peace to a real hustler.
Yeah.
How many kilograms was it?
100.
100?
That's more than I weigh.
Kilograms, so 225 pounds of baby... 220 pounds of baby eel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... I thought they were sneaking in like a sort of... Yeah, this is weird to do it in the airport, too.
It's so dumb. So dumb.
You thought you could walk through. He's like, guys, just act confident.
Like an airport, because like you have 100 kilogram suitcase or something. Like that is well above the like 2 standard deviations above a heavy suitcase. You know, like those suitcases are supposed to be, I imagine, 50 pounds. How are you just like chucking like 4 times that and being like, if I just act chill, no one will think. If you're gonna do that, you better like hop in a car, get like some coolers, and hope no one thinks about it at all.
Yeah.
That's the best you can do.
But see, here's the thing, though, right?
Well, think about
the eels guy.
Think of things being pricey.
Yeah, the eels guy. He's just trying to save on food costs, right? Because grocery prices are through the roof. And what is our government doing to tackle this? That's right, a voluntary code of conduct.
Mr. Champagne.
Yeah, that even if you sign it, you don't even have to abide by because there's no legal enforcement mechanism. Now, what is this?
Oh my god! Wow.
So
okay.
You've probably heard of the Grocery Code of Conduct. It's been in the news recently, and you've probably also heard that several grocery giants like Walmart and Costco have refused to sign it outright. Now, Why have they refused to sign it? Is it a draconian document that will crack down on corporate profits? Not really. What it is actually incomplete. A document that is just not finished. That's right.
I want to jump in and just say Walmart and Costco, who notably did not sign it, are already like the cheap places to shop that people generally like.
Yeah. So, anyways, the
Costco is Walmart. I don't know, but Costco
Walmart
for sure.
people like because it's cheap. They
Walmart's
don't
generally
love
cheap.
it because they're like, oh,
So-
I fucking love Walmart.
I'm shocked to have not seen this in the news, because if you actually find the grocery sector code of conduct document, the official one, the latest release on the website, it just is missing whole sections. For example, the scope subsection. Grocery products include the following items. Can you guess what items are on the list?
Wait, all the items that constitute
what items do you
grocery
think are on this
products?
list?
It seems like should be a lot. Like, I don't know,
Wrong.
rice.
Rice is not on the list.
I
Produce is not on
might
the
have
list.
misread
Stuff
that.
like,
There's nothing on the list. The list is
I
empty.
misread that and
the
thought it was
subsection,
like grocery stores. Yeah, but the list...
No, the section
not-
says
Wait,
the subsection scope. Grocery products include the following items. Blank page. Then next section.
Yeah. And also, if you go to the law section or something, and you look into it, and you go down like one page from the title, it says like, oh, here's a list of all like the kind of sections, categories, and then it just has highlighted in yellow, we'll complete this when the document is finished.
wait, that's actually
Office of the Grocery Sector Code of Conduct, operating rules,
my
page
God.
2, operating rules, table of contents, and then just the text to be reinserted when text complete.
It's just, what's the first page of your document
They handed it
say?
in.
We're not done the document. Like, why are people signing this? This is still clearly at best in the discussion phase, and at worst dead on arrival.
Yeah.
Oh, they actually left a whole page worth of space. That's so
here's the
funny.
thing, it's
Oh
like,
my god.
I think Bennett and I were talking about this, and Bennett was saying, like, this is another, like, nuke to the Liberal Party, and, like, still no one's talked about it. So
Yeah, like, the
clearly no
National
one
Post should be
reads anymore.
all
No one
over
reads
this.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I am probably the person in Canada who has
Yeah.
read, like, I'm in the top 0.1% of reading Budget 2024, and frankly I skipped like a lot of that shit. And we went and we looked at this, and not a single news network has commented on the fact that it's clearly incomplete and just has nothing in it. And like, are we the only real news network? And we're just like a shitty podcast that gets like 30 views so far. How do we know more about this than everyone else?
like why aren't the
Congrats to you boys. You know, I was proud of
why
you.
aren't like the Tory hacks at the National Post doing this easy slam dunk on Trudeau? They haven't read it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the Sun had to do was like go over and look for something to like use as bait. It doesn't even have to be good. They could just find a quote and take it out of context, and they can't even do that. Like, where are they? Where is the news? Where?
Man, we're getting shamed by the news down south. Like, their propaganda is working a lot harder than ours.
It's completely inept. I don't know how. I open up the news every morning, and it's just like slop, you know? Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens.
Oh, man.
Nobody reads anymore, nothing ever happens, etc.
This thing is so funny to look through.
I just love scope. Grocery products include the following items, and then just a blank page. Incredible.
Like, they couldn't even say, like, the fucking food groups. They couldn't even be, like, dairy, grains, meats. Like, just be extremely vague about it, but people can figure it out, you know? And then maybe specify when it comes to maybe more exotic, specific things. I don't know. But, like, nothing? Would they not just have someone be like, oh, grocery products, give it to your fucking intern who's getting paid, like, $14 an hour. illegally somehow, and just be like, oh yeah, hammer out like a couple categories, you know? We'll work it out later in detail. There's nothing.
You know, they should drop it like this and then present it as your fill in the blanks. So for each grocery store, you just
yeah. What stuff do you buy at grocery stores? Fill in the blanks.
Exactly. Petroleum, like.
Yeah.
You sell Bitcoin, you can put it right on there. This is the type of
shit that AI would be useful for. Is giving people a grocery code of conduct that specifically matches their taste, doesn't actually reinforce anything, but makes everyone feel like they're listened to and taken care of. I think that would be the ultimate liberal solution, and have it count towards your credit score. If you do the what's that thing where you like you ask people a bunch of prompts, they give answers, and then you use those answers in a story? What are those things called?
A Mad Lib?
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh. They should do that, but for, like, laws. And then just fill it in and be like, oh, what law do you hate? Or what type of thing do you hate? And it would be like, I hate when people, like, hold up my car in the grocery store parking lot. And then you'd open up, like, the Toronto law book, and it would be like, oh, people blocking you in your car when you go through the grocery store parking lot is illegal. It's just not very well enforced because we don't have a big enough budget for policing. And everyone would be like, oh, that makes sense, you know? They do listen to me. I just need to give more money to cops.
Oh, okay. So you reminded me. I was pretty sure. So what you sounded like, what you just said sounds like exactly how like Georgia used to make laws, because they have a bunch of like strange laws, like it is illegal to keep a donkey in a bathtub. Like wait, there's one very specific one here. If you read your favorite book in public to your friends, do it before 2:45 a.m. What?
Huh? What's that one place that has a law that's like you're not allowed to ride a horse westbound at like from 2 to 2:30 p.m. on a Wednesday or something? There's one place that has an obscene law like that, and I have to imagine the sheriff was just really pissed off at someone.
Yeah, I actually really want to know because I want to find out what inspired that. That's hilarious.
Let's see if I can find this.
All right. Should we cover anything else today? We're at an hour and 20 minutes.
We are. Do you want to cover Rishi Sunak?
Sure, I can just cover that quickly.
Real quick,
So
what's going on with him?
Rishi's
I'll
Sunak
give
was
a
the
brief
current-
background, which is the Conservatives have been doing terrible. They had 2 people get outed and just replaced with other Conservatives. Rishi Sunak came in, essentially giving his only promise being, I'll get inflation under control. And this was like near the end of COVID, so pretty much everywhere just so happened to start getting inflation under control. I think they've generally been hinting at the fact that like something might happen, and then the new inflation number came in at 2.5%, which seems around in control, and I'll let Bennett take it from there.
Yeah, so the Conservatives have overseen one of the steepest like declines in economic growth in the UK in a long time. Some of it is beyond their control, like Brexit is just, the British public was not willing to go back on it. The other stuff is just entirely their fault. Like, it's mostly their fault. But the thing is, they keep winning general elections, and recently they've been doing really poorly in the polls because all of Britain's past mistakes are catching up with it now in terms of economics. It's just not a great place to live right now.
Rivers are going bankrupt.
Yeah, as we covered in the last one. And the polling data puts the Labour Party at like a majority. Like, they're gonna completely destroy the Conservatives. Keir Starmer will be the next Prime Minister, but
I forgot it was Keir Starmer.
It's not looking good for the Tories, which begs the question: why call the election now? Nothing forced them to do it.
All
I
right.
think my guess.
That's where my theory
Right.
comes in.
My guess is
my
that-
theory is that they finally had a good inflation number and just said, this is as much as we're gonna get.
I don't know. My guess is maybe they got some sort of intel that's like, yeah, the global economy is scheduled to collapse in about, I don't know, July 30th or something. You want to get out of office
Yeah.
before then so you don't get blamed.
Yeah.
Wait, so they're calling an election
Anyway,
now?
they
Like, do you
just
know when
called
it's
the
happening?
election. I didn't look at the date, but do you have it, Bennett?
True.
UK general election date is July 4th.
Whoa.
So early July.
Whoa.
They have
wow.
Bringing
have
it back.
They have
Yeah.
absurdly quick turnarounds on elections in the UK.
Yeah.
It seems everywhere except the U.S.
The U.S., I love how they've managed to
Well, I
make
think
their
this is
election
even faster
cycle
than
take
Canada.
like a year and a half,
Frankly,
as
it's
well as
because
a
they
half
have-
year after.
It's because they have sort of like a forced date for an election with no way to have an earlier one. That kind of like means that like you could regularly schedule news coverage to be a year and a half before a presidential election. It's not like in Canada where Trudeau could cease being prime minister tomorrow, basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he could step down, call an election, anything could happen.
Yeah.
As well as, like, they always have a bunch of freaks running in America, so it allows you to kind of get yourself involved in the drama, which the news loves, because that pulls in ratings like nothing else. Like Vivek, nothing fucking happened, but we love Vivek here.
God, what a cringe, like, what a sad man. The interview he did with Ann Coulter, letting her shit on him and then just sitting there and take, oh my God.
If you're looking for an
that was
alpha
just
male
sad.
president, he lost all credibility there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like Vivek is the
Right
guy
now
that
it's-
would be like, I'm an alpha president. You know? Like, I'm a Sigma, I'm on my own path. And then he just lets someone shit on him.
Yeah, I think because he's only gonna say it because he knows like that's what's being said. But as of actually embodying that, like Trump, all his faults, kind of like an alpha president. Like when the debate, when he was like, they responded to Clinton, he's like, because you'll be in jail, kind of thing. That's like a response of like you know, people who are on their, like, not anymore, but like people who are like on their feet give. But Vivek is not that guy. Like, we saw your debate. What the hell? Like, you are far from like any type of person that anyone would want to like identify as an alpha. But because his people are saying it online, that's exactly what he's gonna say. Like,
And like, also, I think, what's the Shane Gillis bit where Trump would go up to like debates and everyone would have their kind of little pre-speeches set and Trump would just be like, what the fuck are we talking about here? And then just start shitting on people.
Yeah, he'd be like, Rand Paul, he's ugly as a dog. He's a dog.
Yeah.
And like, I think Shane Gillis was like that nuked the political landscape was his take, where it's like, oh, you could just do that? It's like, we don't have to pretend to care about education anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, like, a lot of these politicians are maybe too married to that concept or too educated. That's why no one is really like stepping up like Trump has. No one can really emulate that kind of like off the cuff engagements with the crowd like Trump has done. Like,
he would just go
like,
up and he would
from
spew
way back
shit,
then.
and then you'd show up to the next time and you'd be like, oh, what do you mean when you were talking about this? And he would just go up and he'd start spewing more shit. Like, he was purely thinking just in the moment, never really that far ahead, absolutely never in the past, and just going. And no one else did that. How do we end up here from Rishi? Like, we were supposed to talk about Europe, and we immediately started talking about the States. I guess there's no... The drama there is kind of solved, though. Everyone kind of hates the conservatives. Things have gone significantly worse. They're completely mistrusted. I think a big thing was COVID happened, and it was Boris Johnson, and he was just having his own parties, and they were like, oh, we're not all in this together. And then Liz Truss came up and was like, actually, we should start making everyone's lives worse. And people were like, oh, so we're not in this together. And then Rishi Sunak came in, and he's like a fucking billionaire. Oh, here's another little tidbit that dropped, was Rishi Sunak's tax returns came out, and it was like he made like 200,000 euro or something, whatever they got over there, pounds, fucking dollars.
They don't have euros. That's actually the whole point of the.
Yeah. I guess I forgot about Brexit for a second. But he made like 200,000 pounds or something and was paying like 20% on taxes. And that was supposed to be, I think, a wave for he's like us. He makes wages and he pays his taxes. But his wife is just like, has a gajillion dollars. And that's not where he's making his money. It's not representative of his worth or anything. So that's if you dig farther. But the news can spin that and be like, he's our guy, you know? Inflation came down. His only promise was, I'm going to bring inflation down, even though none of it was because of him. It was just because COVID is kind of done now, you know? Things are kind of going back to the status quo from COVID. So I figured that was their call for the election, was this is as good as it's going to get. We have a moment of our guy and a moment of success. But I don't think it's going to be enough to recover it. The Conservative Party, the trust is broken.
Yeah, also, like, the election cycle is way too short to turn around their, like, 20-point polling gap.
Yeah.
They just announced this like, plan to, like, traffic...
Oh, are you talking about the Rwanda plan?
They actually said they're going to send people back to Africa.
So the Rwanda plan is this idea. It's a deal they have with the Rwandan government, which is that Rwanda is, I mean, this isn't necessarily untrue, but they've declared Rwanda a safe country. And when it comes to Central Africa, Rwanda is fairly safe, right? So they are going to pay Rwanda to take migrants. So when migrants show up in the UK that are, like, undocumented, they are going to be basically given to Rwanda with a dowry. Like, they're going to pay Rwanda to take these people and make them Rwandan citizens or something. So it's like this, like, bilateral deal between the US or between the UK and Rwanda to traffic migrants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's wild. And I just looked up the cost. At least 1 million pounds. Oh my God, look at me. 1 million pounds per person?
Yeah. They're going... Yeah.
What the fuck?
Honestly, that could probably bring someone a long way in Rwanda. I don't know how Rwanda's doing.
I don't think the Rwandan person gets it. Yeah, I don't think the person gets it. Rwanda gets it.
Yeah. And actually, I don't know. This is such a, if you think about the long term, consequences of this, like having like a group of immigrants who may or may not be speaking the same languages, like from different parts of, like, black, but from different, are they all black? Actually, I didn't see that. Anyway, like immigrants from different parts of the coming from different parts of Africa, and then sending them to one specific part, like that. Okay, they're not coming with the same kind of like tools that the people who dropped in Liberia had, but that's been done and it didn't end up well. Like it's not like,
but
I feel like
the Liberia project,
we're talking about,
the Liberia
like,
project was also fundamentally different in the fact that the Liberians knew they were going to Liberia and were like,
fill everyone in on the Liberia project.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. So that's why
so
Liberia.
Spencer,
that's right.
In the 19th century, when the United States was like a slaveocracy, right? Like a huge slave state, there was a big question of, is slavery ever going to be abolished? And when it does, what are we going to do what are we going to do with the large population of black people, right? So one of the factions was called the Colonization Society, and the Colonization Society wanted to establish an American colony in Africa for black people to live in. Like, they would conquer a section of West Africa and then put the black population there as either like an American territory or an American satellite state. So the Colonization Society was actually surprisingly influential. Lincoln was associated with it for a while. And they did, even before slavery was abolished, they did establish the Liberia colony. And what they would do is they would take freed black people, and I forget if they gave them money to go it wasn't like they were forced to go. It was like this sort of soft coercion where they could go to Liberia and they would be given free land and stuff. And that's like the origin story of modern Liberia. And to this day, Liberia has a lot of ethnic tension between African Americans and like the indigenous Africans in Liberia.
Yeah.
Right. And I think this is going to have like a weird, it could have like a weird like case where the Rwandans, like the migrant community coming in is now like seen as like illegal, like in the same like backwards way here, like seen as illegal
for
immigrants.
Sure these people
like,
are being sent to be exploited, right? They're going to be like agricultural laborers in Rwanda, not like Rwandan bourgeois, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and God, this fucking sucks.
I mean, I think it's just, it's you have to split, if you're not going to split everyone on like better economic lines where, we're broadly kind of commie aligned, leftist aligned kind of thing. So we generally say, oh yeah, you should distinguish people based on like mostly class boundary. That's like the heaviest influence, is kind of a broad belief there. But if you don't have that, if you want to stop workers from being like, oh, we are all the workers and those are the owners, you have to find other ways. So you need to have like race being a really dominant thing, and like the whole culture war being a really dominant thing. So for them, it's like, yeah, you don't have like immigration or anything like that. You can't help people, invite people to your prosperous country or whatever. You need to get rid of the others, and all of that. You need to make it like a big fear policy. They're going to come here and ruin our great country because they're not like us.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's
definitely
there's
a lot of xenophobia in the culture, so it's not surprising. Yeah. Anyways, we should probably wrap it up there. We've been going over an hour and a half now.
Yeah.
Awesome conversation.
Thanks for coming on,
again
Nana.
for having me.
Thanks for joining. It's a blast.
Thanks for having me
blast,
again,
brother.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And bye.
Bye.